Everybody, welcome back to another exciting episode of Stash Report from the Stash Project. It is April 27th, 2020. So we have a few kit announcements, a few kit releases here at the end of April. In the last video, we had mentioned that we may not be doing a show on the first Monday of May due to the Golden Week holidays. I'm going to go ahead and amend that and say we will be doing that show. Looking at the way the vendors are scheduled, they're only going to be closed on Wednesday. They will be open the rest of the week, and then they're going to be closed for the beginning of the first week of May. So there will be enough time and things coming out to justify that first week of May show for all 3/10 of you who were concerned about not getting a weekly episode next week. So, on kit announcements here, we got a few things. Fujimi has announced for July another Suzuki Hustler G, because who doesn't need another one of those at this point? This one will be molded in bluish black pearl. I think that's like 10 of those. Oh my goodness. All right, so over at Aoshima, we got a few more things tossed on to the Spot Run section of June of 2020, and that is a reissue of the Nissan Fairlady Z Aero Custom. Once again, that is a venerable kit if ever there was one. The 1977 Toyota Celica 2000 GT, and also the 1990 Toyota Estima minivan. That is the one that got released at the end of last year. That was I don't know, what was it, 2-3 runners of parts to tool it into a completely factory stock Estima. And that pretty much covers that. Now, what we did get was a flyer from Nunu that was advertising the stuff they would have shown basically at the Shizuoka hobby show had it taken place basically next week. And there are 4 things that are listed as being a Japanese racing series that have basically no information attached to them whatsoever. If you translate their descriptions, they all say details coming soon. So, being the intrepid person I am, I dug around a bit and found some versions of those listings on the Platts website that give a little bit more of a glimpse into what they may or may not be. First up, there's going to be a 24 hours of spa kit that is something specifically from the 1986 24 Hours of Spa. Now, as far as the 1986 24 Hours of Spa goes, this is still back when Group A Racing was alive, and the only Japanese cars involved in the 24 Hours of Spa in 1986 was a Mazda 959. Now, believe me, I would fall over tickled to death for a Mazda 959 just because of what an oddball racing vehicle that is. I'm not sure how much play it would have outside of an ETCC BTCC, that's European and British Touring Car Championship Series, because I don't believe it actually raced in Japanese touring in any form or fashion. And that's the only Division 1 car there was. And then there were several cars in what was known as Division 2, which was sort of a four-cylinder division, of which there are several A86 Truno 11s. Now we're talking about like the initial D-style car there. A couple of Corolla 11s, which in the sense of this would be two-door Corollas. Now, there's still not really a good two-door Corolla kit out there from that time period, and also one Honda Civic. Now, the one thing that Nunu has in its tooling catalog, with BMAX, is that EF3 EF9 Civic, which would not quite be old enough for that period of time. So then you kind of wondered, are they backdating that to 1986? That's like the Tamiya racing Civic era. I think that might require more than just a couple of pieces in order to backdate it that way. Probably actually requires a whole new body shell. Or it's one of those Corollas. Now, I would be all in for a good quality A86 Truno, be it either the hatchback or the two-door. Both of those cars have a lot of play as far as racing goes. There were in obviously the 24 Hours of Spa. They were in other European touring car races. They were in British touring car and Japanese touring car, and they raced in Macau. That may be a possibility off of the existing AE92 chassis that they already have out in that Japanese touring car kit as well. That kit in order to build it as it comes out of the box, you have to add an extension to the chassis to make that body fit. So there is something still in that kit with a shorter, overall body length. What could that be? Then there is a World Rally Championship Japanese racing car that is just says raced in the WRC in the 1980s. There's not a whole heck of a lot that fits into that. RX-7 will be a very early Group B car. Um, Perhaps a rally version of the Mitsubishi Starion. I don't think it would necessarily be another reissue of the Lancer, the four-door Lancer from the early 80s. So we'll have to wait to see what that's about. Then there's a Japanese touring car kit that is listed as a 1994 series car. That pretty much limits it to exactly one thing, unless Nunu's going on a crazy limb making like a Mazda Lantis or something like that. That will be a reissue of the Toyota Corona. There are 3 more Coronas that ran in 1994 besides the 2 that came in the original kit with the Toyota Tom's livery in it. Those have been secretly whispered as being a promised thing for a while now, so I assume that's what that's going to be. And then there's a JTC, which is technically the same thing, although before a certain period of time, Japanese Touring Car Championship was known as the All Japan Touring Car, AJTC. And this is it's in the early 1990s, and again, that makes you wonder if it's another Civic, if it's another AA92 Corolla, if it's perhaps something to do with the 24 Hours of Spa car, if that's what the 24 Hours Spa car is going to be, if that's going to be an A86 Corolla. So those are all just me pulling things out of the air because there are no definitive answers on those 4 kits. There were 4 other kits that were announced that are scheduled for July, which of course is very optimistic. And these are all going to just basically be reissues of one form or another. Some of them are a little more involved than others. So first up, you have the 1/20th scale McLaren MP4 or MP4, yeah, 2C. You may recall that kit's been teased on and off for like about a year and a half, maybe 2 years now. It is the 1986 Portugal Grand Prix car. It's Alain Prost and Keke Rosberg, and it's specific to that one race because that is the one and only time that the Marlboro car was yellow. For Keke's car in that race because they were introducing a new Marlboro product in 1986 in Portugal. So that's going to finally come out. Then there is the reissue of the Chevy Cruze, the venerable Chevy Cruze, as the 2013 World Touring Car Championship Mueller car. Those are 2012 season. There's not any actual difference between the 2 kits as far as parts go. The decals have already been done by Autocolor, which is sort of the in-house decal company that BMAX Nunu owns. So that's really just a matter of printing some decals and some boxes. Then they're going to reissue the Audi S1 rally car as the 1986 Olympus Rally version. Now, this is going to be a not Group B car because by the end of 1986, Group B has effectively gone away the dodo. This is a short wheelbase Audi S1, and it has that black and red and silver sort of Battenberg style livery that the earlier Audi Quattros prior to Group B had. So it is a probably a new body, I'm going to assume, and maybe a few other pieces into the S1 Evo 2 kit that came out a couple years ago. And then lastly, there's going to be another Japanese Touring Car Championship M3. You may recall there's an Autotech one that's going to be coming out possibly by the end of next month. And this is going to be for the 1990 season, and is the B-ing, that's literally the sponsor, it's B-ing, B-ing Kangani Racing M3. Now that be interesting to see how they package that because 1990 that car was a non-Evo version for the first half of the season and an Evo for the second half of the season. So it would need, technically speaking, the Group A parts that only so far have been released in the rally kit, the Bastos rally kit's the only one that has the Group A low spoiler, the different front lip, and things like that. I think it's showing an Evo 2 on the, or an Evo Sport on the box. Also correct for the second half of the season. The decals would be interchangeable between the two. There might be a few sponsorship differences between the first half and the second half of the season as far as associate sponsorships go. But that car did win several races in Division 2 in the 1990 season, sharing basically the winner circle with the Autech team, although the Autech kit is technically a 1991. So, yeah, those four are going to be coming out. All four of those will have their own PE detail upsets attached to them as well. And we'll see exactly when any of those actually show up. As of right now, I don't believe that any of them are actually on a Hong Kong vendor list. They are all pre-orderable on both Hobby Search and Hobby Link Japan. Actually, the four mystery kits and their photo etch, because all four of those have their own photo etch sets as well. Those are actually all orderable on Hobby Link Japan. If you go into the new section there, it'll just say like Japanese Racing 24 Hours Spot, Japanese Racing WRC, Japanese Racing JTCC, and Japanese Racing JTC, with no description, no pictures. Just buy some things, you might like them, kind of thing. So we'll keep an eye on those four mystery kits, and we'll let you know what they are as soon as I'm allowed to. I have, like I said, my suppositions on what they may or may not be. And that pretty much wraps up the new kit stuff. One last thing to touch on before we go into releases here, and it's all going to be all Japanese stuff and it's all reissues, so it'll go pretty quick, is the current shipping situation that we find ourselves in Japan. Now, you may recall Hong Kong is down to surface mail at this point. They were running EMS, which is the sort of their version of priority mail, for a little while. They're down to boats. If you order something from Hobby Easy or pretty much any Hong Kong vendor right now, it's going to come via surface mail. So it's going to get put on a boat and sent that way. The people like me and everyone else who orders stuff from Japan directly to get model kits and things like that have apparently just completely totally crushed the airport mail processing system at the airport in Tokyo. We've talked about how they're down to one runway and hardly any flights are coming in and out. So at this point in time, actually starting on Saturday the 25th, the Japanese postal system is no longer accepting EMS shipments to the United States. Meaning right now, the only way to get anything out of Japan is by courier service, which would be your FedEx, your UPS, or your DHL. Hobby Search offers, or Hobby Search, I'm not sure what they're offering. They said something about they're offering different things, but I'm not sure it specifies what it is. Hobby Link Japan is offering FedEx and DHL. Buyee, which of course is the vending system we use to go through Yahoo Japan auctions, they're offering DHL as the sort of fallback. That is, of course, much more expensive way to go about things. Buyee, Yahoo Japan Auctions, Hobbylink Japan, they've all taken and canceled off their limit, their cap. You may remember, like the Hobbylink Japan has a 60-day limit on how long they'll store things. Buyee was a 30-day limit. Those have been currently paused due to the situation because, we're not the only ones that can't get mail. Obviously, the entire world is upside down. So those are some things to take into consideration, especially if you're buying from like eBay or Amazon, because I'm not sure how those things would be fulfilled, as there's effectively like no way to actually get those things via using the economy shipping that most of those places offer. So something to take into consideration for the time being. So here we go, newish stuff. One kit from Fujimi, and then everything else is going to be an Aoshima reissue. This is a Fujimi reissue, and it is the Suzuki Hustler G in a, let me see, let me get my paper out, because I couldn't care less about these at this point, but here they are. It is the positive green metallic. I'm positively green that I don't need any more of these. I'm not sure where bluish black falls on this color chart. I don't see it, but at this point, the positive green was the one on the bottom left, and at that point, we've put this kit out in every single color that's on this box art, and now we're putting them out in colors that aren't on this box art, and that means that there are going to be 10 of these at that point. And oh my God, why? I guess these things must be popular in Japan. It's the only thing I can think of. I would still like to get a Suzuki Hustler G, just to have the stripped down steel wheel version of this kit. But they still aren't releasing any of these with actual decals. They only come with the Mylar sticker sheet. So still no on that. So over at Aoshima, there are 4 kits, and then there's a big whole section of wheels here. So we're going to go through the wheels first just to get those out of the way. 14-inch wheel sets. You got your SSR Formula Mesh, your Techno Phantom, and your Kahoot Tekken Type 1 wheels. Also still in 14-inch, the Hayashi, the Star Shark, the Longchamp XR4, and the Yayoi wheels. And then moving over into your VIPs, you have your 19-inch wheel sets for the VIP Modular 210, the VXS 110, your Workmeister S1Rs, and your Work Gnosis GS2s. So all of the wheel sets for April are released, and that'll take us to the Aoshima kits for this week. And you have this reissue of the 83 Nissan Skyline 2000 Turbo RS. Keep in mind it does come with those aero things in the hood molded in, so you are stuck with those. Reissue of the 1998 Nissan Skyline R34 Mordor GTX Turbo, and then the two of the actual April kits here. You have the excuse me, guys. Release of the Honda City Turbo 2 single make racing series cars. It does appear that all of these cars use the same livery package with just different numbers on them. There's one set of decals in here that includes a whole bunch of numbers, right? Obviously, the box art car, the white one, is what the kit is based off of, but the red cars in the background, it's the number 10. Those decals, I believe, are included as well. I think the numbers come in a couple of different formats, like an outline and then a filled, a solid color and then like an outline type of number, because those gold graphics are on the side. Like I said, I believe were used on every single one of these cars that were raced in that single make series that was sort of a support race to would have been Japanese touring car back then. It might have been Grand Touring. Might have been JGTC, but at any rate, that kit's back out. That has not been seen in quite a long time. It is a legitimate race car. It does have a roll cage and stuff inside of it. It is not just like a street car with over fenders added to it. And then the last kit we're talking about this week is the release of the reissue, rather, of the Crown Athlete Crown for 2015, 2016, or 2013, 2016, excuse me. This kit is molded in white, so if you're worried about it being in pink or blue or any of the other colors you've seen this box art be in, it is still molded in white. Two sets of wheels, a couple of different interior options. The front bumper areas and things like that are a little bit different. The fog lights and stuff like that, the whole front bumper itself is different, but the inserts for headlights and things like that are also different. You can build one or the other. You can't, obviously there's not two kits in the box, build one year or the other. It's a reissue of something that's been around for a little bit with a number of 42 on it, but it was something that was like quote unquote fresh reissue on the list this month. And actually, that was supposed to be out last month, and it was delayed for a month, so now it is out. I believe that about covers it. When I look at the list at this point, just a few more things lingering out there, and I would expect they will probably come in before Golden Week, just so the manufacturers can have all the April kits out the door, and the vendors can have them all stocked in and be ready to go for after Golden Week, or anybody who's got to push out FedEx or anything else like that before the end of the month. And yeah, guys, it's crazy out there as it tends to be. I see we're threatening. Thought I heard a cat. We're threatening to open the country back up here. I'm not sure how great an idea that necessarily is. I guess we'll find out in 10 days or so if people start getting sick again. But in the meantime, maintain all your distancing and take care of yourselves, and we'll see you guys on the other side.